years ago, I donated bone marrow to a woman with leukemia, and it damaged my hips. And it wouldn't be a problem except that I'm a carpenter up in Vermont, and I remodel houses in 30 degree below zero weather and 130 degrees on the roof in the summer. And it really had a big impact on my business. I could only work about 20-25 hours a week before I was exhausted. That wouldn't be a problem except I'm dyslexic, which is why I became a carpenter, because I have a lot of struggles with reading. It's a visual field, which is easier than, say, working in an office for me. But nonetheless, the Great Recession happened, and threw the carpentry world into turmoil up in Vermont. And so it was a couple of years ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, that I was really discouraged. I really didn't know what to do with my life, with myself, with my career. I've gone through a lot of financial hardship and physical pain and whatnot. But I always felt I had this call, this thing in my blood to sail that ocean, to find that dream, to pursue that destiny. And out of the blue, I got a call, or a telephone call, from a TV show called The Generations Project out of Utah. And they said, we heard some interviews you did on NPR radio to raise money for kids with dyslexia, and we wonder if you'd like to be on the TV show. And I said, not a chance. I don't even own a TV, and why would I be on a reality show of all things? And they said, well, we take a person, we trace their family history back, and we bring them on a journey for a week to where their ancestors are from, as a way to uplift them, I guess you could say. And they asked me if there was a theme that I would like. And I said, well, if I'm going to be on that show, I'd like to know if anybody in my ancestry had a call that they followed, a real passion, something that they followed. So they did it. They traced the family back. It started off with my grandfather, who fought in World War II at Normandy and Okinawa, and my great-grandfather, who fought in World War I and got mustard gas, and it went on through these generations. It started off a lot about war, about fighting, for something that you believe in. And then it all came all the way back 400 years to the Mayflower. They brought me over to the Mayflower, where I got to meet John Alden. I don't know if any of you have met the character there. He's got an accent literally trained from that part of England where John Alden's from. You can ask him any question about the food he likes or why he came to America, whatnot. And this guy, the actor, was trained in the history of John Alden. And they brought me to the Plymouth plantation. I got to meet Priscilla. And same thing, she had an accent from Surrey, England. And it was this young girl, she's actually a speech pathologist, but she works there tending the gardens, growing the literal food that they ate in those days. So the thing that really got me was that she said they met on the Mayflower. That this illiterate carpenter got on the Mayflower and met the daughter of a shoemaker, I believe, and they fell in love on a voyage across the ocean, following their call, their destiny. And it wasn't easy when you read that Priscilla's, I believe, father, mother, brother, and servant all died, I think, in the first year. You can only imagine what went through their minds, that here they've set out for this land of opportunity, an entire generation dies within a year. But in the opening prayer today, we talked about praying for that determination. And that's really what I took away from this. When I came to the house here for the final interview with Jim Baker, who is now a television star in Utah, it was just that determination, that love and sacrifice that the family who has preserved this house exudes, and also that historical family exudes. And in the mission, your mission, it says, is to preserve the spirit and tradition of the pilgrims from beyond the sea, whose sturdy strength and fearless integrity form the basis of our nation's greatness. And I can only imagine the sturdy strength that has existed in this family going back, I don't know, must be 14 generations. How do you preserve a home? How do you preserve a property? How do you preserve the heirlooms? How do you preserve the genealogy? And who does all that research? And how do you have the board of directors and make decisions? Should we put UV protectant film on the glass to preserve the home? You talk about the fearless integrity. How do you uphold that integrity? We're not going to make changes to the property. Even when we have a limited budget, we're not going to sacrifice the integrity of our heritage. That's what I really took away from that interview, was just the amount of sacrifice that the Alden family had to preserve this property for us. You talk about part of the mission is for the kindred to promote a spirit of helpfulness, comradeship, honorable pride in a common generation. I can only say how grateful I am to the family that they let us do that TV show. Tens of thousands of people have now seen it. I've received emails from California, from Toronto, from Florida, from all over the world of descendants of the Aldens who were moved. They'd heard that their family was a descendant of Alden, but they'd never seen the house before, and they got to see it on TV. It's now the second most watched episode that this TV station's ever done on the internet. And it continues to grow every day. Hundreds more people watch it and are touched by the story. It's called the Generations Project. If you were to Google Sean, S-E-A-N, the Generations Project, you can watch it.
The address is in our newspaper.
In the manager's message, the website address, third paragraph.
All right.
And so when I look back on that telephone call that they had, they asked what the theme was, the call. Should you follow your call? My dream was always to be an author. Been writing for years, which is kind of funny for a dyslexic who can't read a novel to think he can write one. But it's probably funny for a carpenter to get on a ship and think he's going to get land over in America. But that illiterate man went on to become Mr. John Alden. He has a legacy that's preserved today. And I have lived in a tent. I've had everything I own in a storage unit. I've gone without health insurance, without heat, without electricity, without a bed. For 2.5 years, I sacrificed everything to write a novel. And the fuel for that was that TV show. Was coming down and seeing this home and knowing that there are people who still believe in that, the good, the true, and the beautiful, the faith, hope, and love of life. Now, my brother Matt, who has put in all the money for the project, for the book. He's a banker, I'm a carpenter, so he's much more skilled on the finance side, but he too has followed his call. I don't know if you have the book, Matt, to hold it up. But this was the product of the TV show that we finally finished. It's a 272-page novel, and I'm not a self-promoter by any means. In fact, we just got the novel this week, so it's the first time I've even talked about it. But it was more just to say thank you for the heritage and for the inspiration that this family preserved. It's given my cousins, my dad, my stepmother, my siblings a great inspiration. My grandfather had a stroke. He's watched the TV show about 10 times and thinks Jim Baker is an absolute scholar and a very passionate man who also descends from Sarah. So I just want to thank the family for the sacrifices. They say that the word sacrifice and sacred have the same root, which is holy. And I want to thank you for the sacrifices and hard work you've done to preserve this. I do feel it's a holy place based on the good, the true, and the beautiful, faith, hope, and love, and the heritage of our nation. So your mission is being fulfilled. Thank you for having me today.